down here at the North Carolina site. Wow, it's really hard to see out with the glare. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, I'm in here underneath of our pole barn, and like I said, I'm here for various reasons other than just scrap. I've got some mowing to do, and I've got some watering to do. You can see it's pretty brown. It's been pretty hot and dry here. There's actually there's less mowing to do than I thought. It's been almost 3 weeks since I was down here last. And some of the plants, despite the dryness, are looking pretty good. Some are looking pretty rough. So definitely have some irrigation to do. I'll probably talk about all that stuff in a separate video. Today we're talking about scrap in this video. And I wanted to show just a few things that I'm adding to the load. I've got this bucket of random heavy steel from cleaning up. This is actually stuff that came from Virginia up at the Bassett site. Just cleaning up trash. And then the rest of this stuff has been laying around North Carolina. This whole bucket, actually, let me switch hands. I have a glove on this hand for a reason. So this bucket is mostly heavy pieces from a massive motor. I can't even get this piece out. It's wedged in here so tight. All motor pieces. You can see in here, right? This is where the copper windings were that I took out. This was a large motor that sat on a furnace which powered these tobacco curing barns. That's what a lot of this metal from the farm is, these old tobacco curing barns. You can see here's the, I guess this is called the stator, the inside of that motor, and a chair and some other miscellaneous pieces in here. Pieces of pipe. Found a few more bits and bobs here, old hitch, you know, broken crescent wrench, rebar, that sort of stuff. I guess for those of you, some of you have heard me talk about this many times now, but my family has farmed here in this part of North Carolina, mostly tobacco, going back many generations. But like is common, over the past few generations, people left the farm, and I grew up in Pennsylvania, nowhere near the farm. And so there's all this infrastructure. These are the tobacco curing barns. We got all these racks and sticks that they used to use to dry the tobacco. No longer in use. These barns are totally disconnected from the grid. One of them caught on fire. You can see, the hole in the roof there. And so right now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to decide how many of these sticks I want to take. I've taken a bunch of loads of racks before. You can check out videos on that on my page if you want. And as you can see, I've still got a few more to go between all these barns. I think I counted last time. I got like 3 or 4 more full loads of racks. I can take like 32-ish in one load in my truck. This is the last of the sticks, other than I've got a small pile over here that I'm holding on to for sure. I like to have some of them around. They're good to use as weights for weighing down tarps, makeshift fence posts, that sort of thing. So I'm just trying to decide how many of those do I want to leave, how many do I want to take. And I made room for them in the truck. If I go here, I basically moved some of this stuff temporarily to fill up this back portion with all the sticks, because this is going to be probably shearable material. It's clean steel, it's thick, but it's longer than 3 feet, so it won't be, number 1 HMS. So then I'm thinking I can take these stools, stack them up there, and shove all these bins in the middle part, and we should be pretty good to go. Should be a heavy load. It's only getting hotter by the minute though, and I want to get this done before it gets too hot or too late in the afternoon. So yeah, that's how we're looking right now. So, interesting vantage point standing up here. You can see I got a ton of these sticks. There's the chairs, stools, the rest of the stuff you've seen before in the other parts. And I know I've shown all this stuff, but I just wanted to real quick, we've got this whole drum full of extension wire, a little bit of this number 2, and some plugs. That's a whole bucket of aluminum breakage. And then I've got several, like a chainsaw, an old pump, an old 1-cylinder engine, so a little bit more breakage. It's underneath some of this stuff. All the cast aluminum that we cleaned up. This piece of a lamp, some gears and things, whatnot. Showed most of this stainless steel, but so it's these hubcaps and random kitchen things, but then also like these pretty heavy pieces of rims or hubcaps or whatever, those were stainless. There's these 2 little stainless rim pieces. And then there's some of this sheet aluminum, not a lot of it, but some sheet aluminum, as well as those two hubcaps there. Bury this stuff at the yard. I'll try to show it because I think the most interesting part for me is seeing all the various stuff all sorted and cleaned up and ready to go get recycled. There's several of these dirty motors. I got a few clean motors and some car batteries down in here. And the really good stuff, we got this whole tub full of brass, various, pieces of a faucet. I don't know what that is. These big solid punch things. A lot of little fittings and keys and whatnot. This whole dirty brass bin. A little bit of #1 copper, a little bit of Bear Bright. Good amount of #2, mostly battery cables, that sort of thing. So immediately upon making it to the yard, I remembered a lesson that I had forgot. It's been so long since I learned this lesson the first time, but going to the scrap yard on a Friday afternoon, typically not the best idea. Friday afternoons and Saturdays are usually the busiest time at the scrap yard, and so there was just a ton of traffic. And generally just a lot going on. It was a busy place this afternoon. And I don't mean traffic getting there. The roads were relatively okay. I just mean traffic at the scale, basically. I waited in line for a long time, and I had so many different types of material. I had to weigh in and out several times. So I was at the scrapyard for a while, which is fine. It is what it is. That's part of it. But in an ideal world, when I can plan ahead a little bit better, I do try to avoid the scrapyard on Fridays and weekends. I try to go, Monday through Thursday, and I typically try to get there around lunchtime. Basically just unloading all of the HMS here first. Alright, so next all those sticks out of the tobacco sheds went to the shear pile, and what that means is since they're longer than 3 feet, they are clean steel, but because of their length, they're going to have to be sheared, cut down to smaller pieces before they can go to the steel mill. The scrap metal yards have a big industrial piece of equipment that can shear heavy steel like that before it goes out to the mill. Earlier we saw a tractor trailer being loaded up with shred steel, leaving the scrap yard to go to an auto shredder. This is a big piece of industrial equipment that came in on a flatbed and it's getting unloaded to go to the shred pile. This is going to get torn up. Scrap metal is a lot of loading and unloading and handling and moving to different places to be handled by different equipment, So material comes in here. If it's large like this, they'll break it down to be smaller. This yard, everything gets aggregated, and then all of the shred steel gets sent out, reloaded and sent out to a facility that has a shredder that can shred it all up and sort the material out. And then all that stuff will go from there to mills where it will be remelted down and turned into new material. Some yards have a shredder on site, although many yards do not because it's a very large and expensive piece of equipment to have and maintain. Alright, so now the fun part. What did it weigh? What did it pay? Now remember, we were at the scale multiple times. We had to weigh in, go take the prepared HMS steel, weigh out, then we had to take the aluminum breakage, weigh out again, take all the shearable material, weigh out again. So I was on and off that scale quite a few times. It's kind of fun. Then everything else goes to the smaller scale that you can load by hand. All of the non-ferrous goes there, and they don't really like having cameras over in that part of the yard, so it didn't film any of that. Right, so anyway, what did it weigh? What did it pay? All right, so steel prices are still down pretty low. They've been trending down the past several months. So with that said, HMS prepared was at 9 cents a pound. Not great, but we'll take it. We had 680 pounds. The shearable steel was 8 cents, technically 8.35 cents per pound, and we had 800 pounds of that. And then the aluminum breakage, 23 cents a pound. We had 40 pounds. Not a whole lot, but, every little bit counts. Still almost 10 bucks. That's more than double what we would have got if we put it in with the shred. That first item on the list got cut off of my receipt, so I can't really tell exactly what was going on there, but that was those plug ends that I cut off of the extension cord, and I'm not 100% sure what happened. I honestly think they might have just bought that as shred, because it looks like 4 pounds for a total of 24 cents, which would make it shred prices at around 7 cents a pound, which is silly to make them weigh that out, but some yards will take that as a separate price for copper bearing material, so now we just know this yard just takes that as shred, I think, and we won't separate it out. I do want the plugs cut off of the wire to get the better price on the extension wire, but now we can just throw those plugs into shred or take them to another yard that pays more for them. Anyway, insulated copper number 2, 45%. We've got 2 line items for that. What's going on there is that the 26 pounds, that's the extension wire. The 5 pounds, that's the number 2 wire that I had separated out. So they pay the same at this yard for number 2 and for extension wire. That's fine. Total of, 31 pounds and about $32. Then the stainless prepare, that's our clean stainless steel, 22 pounds, 35 cents a pound, $7.70. Clean aluminum cast, 28 pounds at 49 cents a pound for $13.72. A little bit more breakage that I guess I forgot to separate out, 12 pounds, another $2.76 at 23 cents a pound. Clean brass. This is one thing I like about this yard, is they tend to lump a lot of stuff into the clean material that's not clean. You remember I had a bucket of clean brass and a bucket of dirty brass. They kept it separate. They put it into 2 separate piles, but they paid me for clean brass for all of the weight that I had. So 23 pounds of total brass paid for as clean brass, $2.01 a pound, $46.23, pretty good. Then all of the copper I had, even though it was mostly number 2, they paid me number 1 for all of it. So 10 pounds, $3.70 a pound, $37. I had a little bit of insulated number 1 wire. That's that stiffer single gauge insulated wire, 3 pounds, $2.03 a pound. All those electric motors were 56 pounds at 29 cents a pound for $16.24. And then I had 93 pounds in car batteries for 19 cents a pound, $17.76. A total of $180 for all the non-ferrous, and a total of $137 for all the steel. Total weight, almost 1,800 pounds of material. So that's a really good day in my book. I'm pretty happy with how that went, other than the traffic, of course. And hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Let me know if you have any questions or comments down below. Stay safe out there, whatever you're doing, and have fun doing it.